Brandfass, Chapter 3. Jingle, jangle. I had to wait 2 days before Miss Lark came back again. Then, before she arrived, the morning seemed unspeakably long. First, we had to do math problems. One was about a train going east and a train going west, and as far as I could figure out, those two trains were going in circles. Then there was the vocabulary test. I hid in my sleeping hut with my notebook and took the test with the rest of the class. I'm sorry to say I missed 3 words. First was drizzle. I thought it only had 1 Z. I should have known it had 2. After all, Mrs. Brisbane once gave us a made-up word, fur-zizzle, and that had 2 Z's. Next was frozen. I thought it had 2 Z's. I also missed icicle. I got carried away and wrote icicle. I guess Mrs. Brisbane was using our spelling to get us in the mood for the Winter Wonderland show. Og, do you think Ms. Lark is really coming back today? I squeaked to my neighbor when we were alone in the room during recess. Og splashed a little, but he didn't answer. I guess he didn't know either. But once my classmates were back and in their chairs, the door swung open and Ms. Lark came in. She gave a nervous glance in the direction of my cage, then moved to the front of the classroom. She was carrying a piano keyboard with her. It was just the keyboard part, not the whole piano. "Did you have a chance to look at the Snowflake song last night?" she asked, placing the keyboard on the desk. My friends all nodded, even forgetful Phoebe, who sometimes doesn't remember her homework. "Great," Miss Lark continued. "Let's warm up by singing a chorus of Jingle Bells. Then I'll teach you the new song." She flipped a switch and started playing the keyboard. It may have been small, but it was loud, loud, loud. My classmates began to sing, and I squeaked along.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on one horse open sleigh. Hey!
Jingle bells.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on one horse open sleigh. Hey!
It's a happy song, and I loved it so much I kept on going.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
Just then, I noticed that the rest of the class had stopped singing. My friend sitting near my cage giggled. I stopped singing. Ms. Lark looked in my direction and frowned, but then she forced a smile. It looked forced to me, and told my friends what a good job they'd done. Next, we sang the whole verse of the song. I didn't know that part, so I listened.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh!
Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on one horse open sleigh. Hey!
When they went back to singing the Jingle Bells part, I joined in again, but this time I remembered to stop when my friends did. Ms. Lark explained what some of the words meant, which was quite surprising. I thought that the horse's name was Bob and that he had bells on his tail. That was what the song said, bells on Bobtail's ring. But I was wrong, wrong, wrong. The horse's tail was cut short so it wouldn't get caught in the reins, and that was called a bobtail. Ouch! I have a small ponytail myself, but I'm not sure how I'd feel about putting bells on it. I want you to practice the song on your piano when you get home so we can rehearse with you playing soon, she told Daniel. Okay, he said. You will remember, won't you? Mrs. Brisbane asked. Tonight. Mrs. Brisbane often had to remind Daniel not to put things off. Then Ms. Lark moved on to the new song about the snowflakes. I could tell my friends were excited as I was to hear a brand new song. They leaned forward in their chairs to listen. I scrambled up to the tippy top of my cage so I could watch Ms. Lark sing and play. She had a lovely voice, and I liked the words of the song, too. And it goes like this. No two snowflakes are the same, though they're lacy white. No two snowflakes are alike, almost, but not quite. Each one is special, that is true. Each one is special, just like me and you. Snowflakes floating through the air make a lovely sight. No two snowflakes are alike, almost, but not quite. Each one is special, that is true. Each one is special, just like me and you. Snowflakes covering the ground make the whole world bright. No two snowflakes are alike, almost, but not quite. Each one is special, that is true. Each one is special, just like me and you. By the time she got to the end, the whole class joined in on the chorus. I wanted to, but I managed not to squeak because I was afraid I'd upset Ms. Lark. When she stopped, Mrs. Brisbane applauded and everyone joined in. That's a beautiful song, our teacher said. Thank you, Ms. Lark replied. But now I'll tell you the best part. Half of the class will be prancing horses for jingle bells. Those students will wear tails, horses' manes, and bells. I want to be a jingle horse. Stop talking, Sophie blurted out. By the nods and whispering, I could see that the rest of the class wanted the same thing. The other half of the class will be glittering snowflakes whirling around the stage for the second song, Ms. Lark said. Oh, I want to be a snowflake, Sophie explained. Sorry, but you can't be a horse and a snowflake, Ms. Lark told her. Sophie looked disappointed, but she was quiet for once. I don't want to be a snowflake, Simon said. I'd rather be a horse. All the boys nodded, and they said that they wanted to be horses. Ms. Lark turned to Mrs. Brisbane. What do you think? Mrs. Brisbane thought for a second, and then she thought it would be a good idea if the girls were snowflakes and the boys were horses. Did you hear that, Og? I said. Since we're boys, I guess we get to be horses. Being a horse wouldn't be that hard for a hamster. After all, unlike humans, I already have a tail. Boing! Og twanged loudly. The class practiced the new song several times, and then it was lunchtime. When the classroom was empty again, I burrowed under my bedding to keep warm and to think. I was thinking that Og wouldn't make a very good horse. I'd never seen a picture of a green horse before, and horses didn't hop. Still, I was happy, happy, happy that we boys were going to be horses, and I'm sure Og was too. For the rest of the day, it was hard to concentrate on our studies because I kept hearing Jingle Bells and the Snowflake song going around and around in my brain. Late in the afternoon, Mrs. Brisbane began talking about real snowflakes again. That got my attention. Our teacher had started to explain how the ice crystals formed when small Paul Fletcher raised his hand. Mrs. Brisbane, he said when she called on him, I did some reading about snowflakes last night, and I found out that something that we talked about on Tuesday is wrong, and Ms. Lark's song is wrong. Wrong? Mrs. Brisbane looked puzzled. Paul pushed up his glasses. Yes, ma'am. The song says no two snowflakes are alike, but that's not true. Not true? What was Paul saying? Oh, my! Has anyone seen two that are alike? Mrs. Brisbane asked. I'm not really sure about that, Paul said, but it's scientifically possible that there could be two identical snowflakes. I see, Mrs. Brisbane said. If you'd like to do a little more research on that, I'd appreciate it. Paul, can you report back to the class tomorrow? As soon as Paul said he would, more hands were raised. Maybe we should change the song, helpful Holly suggested. Mrs. Brisbane smiled. I'm not sure that singing sometimes two snowflakes might be alike would sound as good as you are, do you? You'd have to change all of the words, Thomas said. Does that mean we can't have glittery snowflake costumes, Rosie asked. She looked very, very, very disappointed. You can still have glittery snowflake costumes, Mrs. Brisbane said, and I think we can keep the song as it is. We'll talk to Ms. Lark about it tomorrow. All of my friends seemed pleased with her answer. Speaking of tomorrow, whose turn is it to take Humphrey home for the weekend? Mrs. Brisbane asked. I looked around the room. Which house would I be visiting for the weekend? Each week it's a different place, which makes my life interesting. Holly waved her hand wildly. "It's me," she said. "Don't forget to bring in the permission slip tomorrow," Mrs. Brisbane told her. I was pretty sure that helpful Holly wouldn't forget. Later that night, when Og and I were alone, I opened the lock that doesn't lock and scampered over to his tank. "Og, since we're boys and we'll be jingle horses, do you think we should practice singing jingle bells?" I asked. My friend didn't answer, so I decided to practice by myself. "Jingle bells, jingle all the way," I began. I was happy when Og chimed in. "Boing, boing, 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 boing." It didn't sound like jingle bells, but at least Og was trying his best. Later, I snuggled under the bedding in my cage with the notebook and pencil I kept hidden. I tried to draw 2 snowflakes that were exactly alike, but you know what? I couldn't do it. I liked the idea that no 2 snowflakes and no 2 people or hamsters or frogs are exactly alike. I knew that Small Paul was smart and knew a lot about science, but was he right about this? Humphrey's Winter Wonderings. Are any 2 hamsters ever alike? It's strange, strange, strange to think that somewhere there might be a classroom hamster named Humphrey who's just like me.